Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is titled Aviation Disasters. Hey, look at me, I know the cause. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole process of accident investigation. Now, I have had a lot of people say, hey, why don't you tell us what's going on? Why don't you tell us what caused this accident? We want to hear. Everybody wants to know right away what the problems are. Now, a lot of you had said, thank you that you don't jump in there. You don't go for the clickbait. You don't go for the sensational headlines and stuff like that. And let me explain my background and the whole accident investigation process and why this is very important. When I was first starting my airline career back in 1979, now Illinois isn't known for a lot of wonderful things, Lincoln and stuff like that, although he wasn't even born in the state. But anyway, we had Langhorne Bond, and Langhorne Bond was the FAA administrator, and he's kind of a little bit of an embarrassment, although the name stays on a lot of things. But this is the bolt that caused the accident of the American Airlines Flight 191. It was a regularly scheduled domestic passenger flight from O'Hare going to Los Angeles, and it crashed on the afternoon of May 25th, 1979, a McDonnell Douglas DC-10. Taking off on runway 32 right, which later, that runway doesn't exist anymore, interestingly, but I would do many, many takeoffs for this because it's our longest runway. And they flung the left engine. Now, the DC-10, and I'm going to talk about this in another video because the DC-10 doesn't have a very good design and accident history, and there's a lot to talk about this aircraft. But 271 people, everybody on board was killed, and there were two people also on the ground killed. It went into a trailer park, and with a total of 273 fatalities, it was the deadliest aviation accident at the time in 1979 to have occurred in the United States. And I was just starting my airline career, so this really got my attention. And they were quick looking for a cause of the accident, and Langhorne Bond said, it's the bolt. Well, okay. Two rules of accident investigation, two first facts, and I'll tell you about those in just a second. But now, I did a lot of work for the Airline Pilots Association and the International Association also, but most of my work was technical, aircraft evaluation and things like that. But I started out being involved in accident investigation. And I worked a lot with Robert Zumwalt. You might know him back when he was an airline pilot. We did a lot of ALPA work together. Had a very good time. Actually, last time I sat with him in person, we were smoking. Well, he was. I wasn't smoking a cigar, but we were in San Diego after one of the accident investigation courses, and he was smoking a fine cigar. And of course, he became the head of the National Transportation Safety Board. Now, I went through all the requisite stuff, getting my courses, my certification, and I at one time was asked to be chairman of the Central Air Safety Committee for the airline. Now, you go through these various courses, and of course, accident investigation changed over the years, and now every accident site is a biohazard site. But basically, I was looking at this back early in my career, and for those old fogies out there like me, you remember the Maytag repairman commercial. This guy had absolutely nothing to do, and we haven't had an accident in a generation. This latest accident, there's not a whole lot to do as an accident investigator. Now, there is good safety work to do, and there was a lot of that. But frankly, I was having a lot more fun with aircraft evaluations. I mean, this is my studliest picture ever here, right here. But let me tell you about the first facts in accident investigation. There are two first facts, and like it says, they're anything but facts. There are two basic concepts in accident investigation. Almost all initial theories proposed during an accident investigation are flat out wrong, like the bolt. And I'll explain why the bolt was flat out wrong, although that was grounded the whole fleet, and that was claimed to be the problem. You're jumping too early there, Langhorne. And the second one, as I think everybody should know, is accidents are multi-casual. They're the old Swiss cheese. You probably heard about this, and if something's out of alignment, something comes in there and prevents the accident from happening. It doesn't happen, and it's just a little incident, and you may never heard about it. But when all the holes line up and all the safety factors fail, you have an accident. Now, of course, early on, it was always easy to blame pilot error. Okay, you wanted to know that it was this really dumb guy, and you hope you never have one of those people on your airplane, but it was this one bad apple, and all the pilots I'm flying with, the people would get on, and I had my cap on when I initially became captain. The top of my head was still very blonde, the sides were gray, and this lady commented to me that it was nice to see a gray-haired captain on the 737. Okay, well, I didn't take the cap off because the rest was blonde, but later, of course, it went all gray. But anyway, they and did you fly in the military? Well, yes, I flew in the military. So of course you were a military pilot, so you got to be good. You're not one of these people who flew a lot of propellers and stuff like that. But let's look at this accident. Like I said, at the time it was the worst aviation accident in the U.S. Captured with pictures here, very dramatic pictures. This is the crash site, and of course this is a very famous picture of the airplane nosing over with the engine gone, leaking fuel there. And Langhorne Bond in his famous The Bolt caused it. Okay, the safety board, they were trying to determine what was going on here, and they jumped to conclusion because this was a lot of pressure. They were grounding the fleet. I mean, you're talking about big bucks interfering with passenger flight and stuff like that. But they found this 3-inch bolt on the runway, and it was broken. So they were saying, hey, this is what caused it. It was metal fatigue, and we're grounding the airplanes until all these attach points can be inspected. Well, kind of an interesting point about this whole thing is the American Airlines used a inspection procedure that was not authorized by McDonnell Douglas. They were supposed to take the pylon apart, the engine and pylon apart separately and mount them separately. But what they were doing was they were using a forklift and lifting the whole engine and pylon assembly together. Now, the problem with this is the tolerance to prevent damage was 1/16 of an inch. Now, anybody who's gone to Home Depot and watched the people moving around with forklifts know that 1/16 of an inch on a forklift is just not in the cards. And the actual inspection procedure was damaging the structure and causing to a problem. So by saying, hey, it's the bolt and we'll inspect it, they were actually making the whole situation worse. And this is a picture of the pylon attach points and stuff like that. And it came out, of course, that the procedure was what caused it. So the famous, here is the bolt. This is the cause of the accident. It's the bolt. Well, it wasn't the bolt. And, of course, jumping to conclusions can cast you in a not very good light. Now, there are some people out there who do a good job. This guy up here, for example, he works from accident reports. He works from the information that is at hand, and he doesn't jump to wild conclusions. There are other people who jump to wild conclusions and come away looking kind of stupid. And in fact, as we all know, there was speculation before the wreckage had even been removed, when the bodies were still in the water, of knowing what the cause was because of common sense, okay? Yeah, right. Let the NTSB do their job. Let them get the data. Let them look at it. It takes time. If you rush to conclusions, you will be wrong. It is a common fact. And over 50 years of flying, I have seen a lot of these initial theories come out, and they are invariably wrong. So, and they lead people down the wrong path. Let the people do their job. You can let the information come out, and you can do a certain amount of speculation because people just can't resist that. but let the people who know how to do this, and the NTSB hasn't always been without failure. Back, in the McDonnell Douglas days, they were rushing too early, but everybody, I think, has learned their lesson. You take it slow, you don't make conjectures, you present facts as they become available, but you don't present conclusions until everything is in. Okay, that's my 2 cents worth with. I hope you found it interesting, informative, and thanks for watching.